When you feel deeply, you grow silently. Have you ever felt the weight of your own heart? The moments when emotions crash over you like a storm, leaving your mind buzzing and your soul raw. Most people run from those feelings. They numb them, distract themselves, or pretend they don't exist. But here's the truth few dare to say. The deeper you feel, the stronger you become, and that growth happens quietly in ways no one else sees. Too often, we are conditioned to treat emotions like obstacles, like weaknesses that must be hidden or suppressed. Society tells us to be strong, don't cry, just move on, as if the intensity of what we feel is something to be ashamed of. But the truth is, the depth of your emotions is not a flaw, it is the raw material from which your growth is forged. Feeling deeply is a skill, a practice, and a form of courage. It's about sitting in the fire of your own mind and letting every sensation, every surge of thought, every wave of emotion move through you without resistance. When you embrace the full spectrum of your emotions, you are opening yourself to truths that comfort and convenience will never reveal. Anger, for example, is often dismissed as destructive, but it can be a compass pointing out where your boundaries have been crossed or where injustice exists. Sadness, though heavy and unwelcome, carves space in your soul for empathy, reflection, and appreciation of the light moments that follow. Grief teaches the impermanence of life and the preciousness of every connection, while joy reminds you of what is worth holding on to, even in the darkest times. Each emotion carries a message, and the deeper you feel it, the more clarity it can bring. Many people avoid their emotions because they are unpredictable and uncomfortable, but that avoidance comes at a cost. The unprocessed feelings do not vanish. They linger, subtly shaping your behavior, eroding your energy, and dictating choices without your conscious awareness. By leaning into your emotions instead of fleeing from them, you reclaim control over your inner world. You become fluent in the language of your own heart, able to read the signs, understand the motives, and anticipate the patterns in your life. Silent growth happens here in these intimate moments where you wrestle with your own complexity, learning not just who you are, but what you are capable of enduring, adapting to, and transforming. Feeling deeply also strengthens resilience in ways that no superficial victories ever can. When you allow yourself to experience the full intensity of emotion, you practice tolerance for discomfort, patience with uncertainty, and the humility to accept that life cannot always be neat or predictable. Every time you navigate a storm of feeling without shutting down or lashing out, you expand your capacity for empathy, wisdom, and self-mastery. Growth, in this sense, is quiet and almost invisible. It happens beneath the surface, shaping your character, your decision-making, and your capacity to engage authentically with the world. In essence, embracing your emotions is not about indulgence or self-pity. It is about courage. It is about committing to know yourself in your entirety, without excuses, without filters, and without fear. The deeper you feel, the stronger you become, and the quieter your growth, because true transformation is never loud. It is steady, persistent, and profound, even when no one else notices. Vulnerability is one of the most misunderstood qualities in human life. From a young age, we are taught to hide our weaknesses, to mask our fears, and to project a version of ourselves that seems invincible. We believe that exposing our emotions, admitting our doubts, or showing uncertainty is a form of failure. But the reality is completely different. Vulnerability is the gateway to authentic power. It is the soil in which resilience, connection, and self-mastery take root. Those who embrace vulnerability are not fragile. They are alive, in a way that the guarded never experience. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you give permission to feel fully, to engage honestly, and to exist authentically. This is not about oversharing or seeking attention. It's about courageously facing the truth of your own emotions and experiences. There is a quiet, almost imperceptible strength that grows when you stop pretending to be something you're not. The act of showing up authentically, even when it scares you, teaches you lessons no textbook or motivational quote ever could. It teaches humility, patience, and the power of honesty, both with yourself and with others. The beauty of vulnerability is that it transforms the way you relate to the world. When you are unafraid to admit that you don't have all the answers, that you hurt, that you struggle, you create space for real connection. People are drawn to authenticity because it resonates with their own hidden fears and insecurities. Your openness becomes a mirror for others, inspiring them to confront their own truths. Silent growth happens in these moments because the act of vulnerability doesn't require applause or recognition. It reshapes your inner world first, strengthening the foundation from which all your future actions will stem. Moreover, vulnerability is a practice in courage. It is the act of standing in front of life with your heart exposed and saying, "I feel this, I acknowledge this, and I will continue." Every time you allow yourself to admit your fear or grief, every time you take responsibility for your mistakes or express your true emotions, you are exercising inner strength. This is the kind of growth that cannot be measured externally, but manifests in clarity of thought, grounded decision-making, and unwavering integrity. In truth, the people who achieve the deepest and most lasting impact in the world are not those who never falter, they are those who lean into their humanity, who embrace vulnerability as a source of power rather than a weakness. Silent growth, in this sense, is built on courage, honesty, and authenticity. And the more you practice it, the more you realize that true strength is never about pretending to be unbreakable. It is about showing up fully, even when the world expects you to hide. In a world that constantly demands your attention, where notifications, obligations, and endless distractions pull at you every second, solitude often feels uncomfortable, even alien. Yet it is in these moments of intentional isolation that the deepest and most transformative growth occurs. Solitude is not loneliness. It is a deliberate space in which your mind can breathe, your emotions can settle, and your soul can finally speak. When you feel deeply and allow yourself to be alone with your thoughts, you create a laboratory for self-discovery that the chaos of daily life will never permit. When you step into solitude, you are forced to confront the raw truth of your inner world without the noise of others' expectations, without the constant validation or judgment. You encounter your authentic self, the parts of you that are scared, uncertain, hopeful, and capable all at once. In these quiet moments, you begin to see patterns in your behavior, understand the motivations behind your emotions, and uncover hidden strengths you never knew existed. Deep feeling in solitude is like mining for gold beneath layers of rock. The process is slow, sometimes exhausting, but the rewards are invaluable. Many people fear silence because it reveals what they have been avoiding. It exposes unresolved pain, buried regrets, and unacknowledged desires. But growth is never born in avoidance. By embracing solitude, you are giving yourself permission to feel fully, to process experiences on your own terms, and to integrate lessons without distraction. This is where silent growth thrives, not in public displays, not in social affirmation, but in the private, intimate act of becoming comfortable with yourself. Solitude also teaches self-reliance and emotional resilience. When you can sit with your emotions without fleeing, you learn to manage your energy, focus your attention, and make decisions from a place of clarity rather than impulse. You develop an inner stability that allows you to navigate life's storms without being swept away by external forces. In this way, the periods of quiet reflection, the moments of stillness, are not wasted. They are the foundation for strength, insight, and confidence. Ultimately, solitude transforms you in ways that are invisible to the outside world. The world may see only a calm, composed individual, unaware of the hours spent wrestling with emotion, questioning purpose, and cultivating wisdom. This silent evolution is a force that no chaos can disrupt, no criticism can shake. It is the inner sanctuary, where deep feeling is not feared but harnessed, and where the seeds of personal power take root and flourish. By valuing solitude, you learn that the greatest growth occurs not in the clamor of the crowd, but in the quiet, deliberate attention you give to your own heart and mind. Pain is one of the few experiences in life that everyone inevitably encounters, yet it is universally feared and resisted. From heartbreak to failure, from loss to disappointment, pain challenges every part of us. Most people try to avoid it, numb it, or mask it with distractions, believing that a life without pain is a life of comfort and success. But the truth is, pain is not the enemy. It is a guide, a teacher, and the gateway to profound wisdom. When you feel deeply, you discover that every sting, every ache carries a lesson that, if embraced, can shape your character and elevate your understanding of life itself. The transformative power of pain lies in its ability to reveal truths that comfort and convenience never will. When life hurts, you are forced to confront realities you might otherwise ignore, the fragility of human connection, the consequences of your choices, the fleeting nature of time. In those raw moments, clarity emerges. You begin to see what matters most, what you can let go of, and what is worth fighting for. Deeply feeling your pain allows you to extract meaning from it rather than simply being consumed by it. It becomes a lens through which you view your experiences, a compass guiding you toward growth, purpose, and resilience. Pain also cultivates empathy, one of the most powerful forms of silent growth. When you have endured suffering, you gain the ability to understand and connect with others in a way that superficial experiences cannot provide. You begin to notice the subtleties of human struggle, the quiet battles that people fight in their own lives. This awareness deepens relationships, strengthens leadership, and nurtures compassion. The wisdom born from pain is never loud or boastful. It manifests in your ability to listen, support, and act with insight and sensitivity. Furthermore, enduring pain teaches patience, perseverance, and humility. Life does not unfold according to your desires, and suffering is often the universe's way of demanding attention, reflection, and adaptation. Those who embrace their pain, who allow themselves to feel it fully and process it, emerge stronger, wiser, and more grounded. Silent growth happens not when pain is avoided, but when it is faced head-on, integrated, and transformed into strength. Each trial becomes a stepping stone, each setback a lesson, and each moment of discomfort an opportunity to cultivate resilience that no success alone could ever teach. Ultimately, pain is the crucible in which character is forged. It shapes perspective, sharpens judgment, and teaches lessons that are impossible to learn any other way. By embracing the depth of your emotions and allowing pain to teach you, you tap into a silent, unstoppable growth, one that shapes your mind, your heart, and your entire life with wisdom, courage, and authenticity. Observation and reflection are two of the most underrated tools for personal growth, yet they hold the power to transform a life silently and profoundly. Most people move through their days reacting to events, responding to emotions, and acting on impulse without ever pausing to truly understand what is happening inside them. But when you allow yourself to observe and reflect, you step out of autopilot and begin to engage with life on a deeper, more meaningful level. You start noticing patterns in your thoughts, behaviors, and emotional responses, and that awareness becomes the first step toward conscious, deliberate growth. Reflection is not simply thinking about your day or replaying events in your mind. It is the practice of examining your feelings and actions with honesty and curiosity. When you feel deeply, reflection allows you to understand why you react the way you do, what triggers your emotions, and how your past experiences shape your present choices. This is where silent growth occurs, when you internalize lessons from your experiences without needing external validation or applause. You begin to see yourself clearly, not as a static being, but as a work in progress, capable of evolving continuously. Observation, paired with reflection, teaches self-mastery. By watching your thoughts and emotions without judgment, you learn to respond rather than react. You begin to notice the subtle influences that shape your decisions, the fears, the desires, the subconscious beliefs that quietly govern your life. This awareness gives you the power to change patterns that no amount of willpower alone could alter. Silent growth thrives in these moments because it is subtle, cumulative, and internal. It does not announce itself to the world, but its effects ripple outward, influencing every choice you make, every conversation you have, and every relationship you nurture. The transformative power of reflection also extends to your understanding of others. When you practice observing your own inner world, you develop empathy and patience, learning to recognize the complexity of human behavior. You become less reactive to external chaos and more grounded in your responses. You learn to navigate conflict with calm, to communicate with clarity, and to act with intention. The lessons gained through reflection are quiet but profound. They shape your character in ways that superficial experiences never could. Ultimately, observation and reflection transform not only your mind but your life. They are the silent architects of wisdom, the unseen hands shaping your emotional resilience, clarity, and authenticity. By dedicating time to feel, observe, and reflect, you cultivate a depth of understanding that allows you to move through life with purpose, calm, and unwavering strength. The growth may be invisible to others, but it is monumental in its impact, quiet, deliberate, and unstoppable. When you feel deeply, grow silently, and reflect intentionally, the most profound transformation happens not in what you say, but in what you become. Impact beyond words is the ultimate expression of silent growth, an influence so subtle, yet so powerful that it moves people without a single declaration, a single command, or a single boast. It is the kind of presence that changes environments, shapes minds, and inspires action, all without seeking recognition. This is where the culmination of deep feeling, reflection, and resilience manifests in the world. True impact begins with alignment. When your internal world is cultivated with honesty, courage, and awareness, your external presence naturally radiates authenticity. People sense it, they feel it. They may not understand it intellectually, but they respond to it emotionally. Your calm in chaos, your clarity in complexity, your ability to navigate life without being derailed by every disappointment. These qualities speak louder than words ever could. Silent growth becomes visible in the way you carry yourself, the energy you emit, and the confidence that comes from having endured, reflected, and evolved internally. Impact beyond words is also about subtle influence. Those who grow silently rarely need to assert dominance, control outcomes, or force their perspectives on others. Instead, they embody the lessons life has taught them. They demonstrate patience in conflict, resilience in adversity, and compassion in judgment. Others notice not because of noise or spectacle, but because the energy of authenticity and depth is magnetic. Silent growth produces leaders, mentors, and influencers whose authority comes not from position, title, or volume, but from the undeniable power of being fully present, fully human, and fully evolved. This type of impact is enduring because it is rooted in substance, not performance. Words can inspire for a moment, but the embodiment of lived experience leaves a legacy. The way you respond to challenges, the way you listen without interrupting, the way you hold space for others, all of this creates ripples that extend far beyond your immediate perception. Silent growth ensures that your influence is both profound and subtle, shaping environments and minds with patience and consistency. Finally, impact beyond words reinforces the truth that deep feeling and silent growth are not solitary practices. They are contributions to the world. By committing to your internal evolution, by leaning into your emotions and embracing reflection, you create a presence that elevates others. You become a living example of resilience, empathy, and wisdom, proving that growth doesn't need an audience, applause, or acknowledgement to be meaningful. The world feels your evolution, even if it never hears it announced. When you embrace your emotions, lean into your vulnerabilities, and reflect deeply on your experiences, you begin to understand a fundamental truth. Growth is never loud, flashy, or instant. It is quiet, persistent, and often invisible to the world around you, the storms of emotion. That once terrified, you become the tools of transformation. Every moment of pain, every wave of sadness or frustration is not something to escape. It is an opportunity to grow silently, to strengthen your inner foundation, and to shape a version of yourself that is resilient, grounded, and authentic. By feeling deeply, you cultivate a depth of character that cannot be replicated by surface-level success or superficial achievements. Solitude, reflection, and observation are the crucibles in which your true self emerges. In those quiet, often unnoticed moments, you confront the rawest parts of your soul, you process your pain, and you integrate the lessons that life hands you. This is where silent growth takes root. It is invisible to the casual observer, but the internal changes are monumental. They shape your decisions, influence your relationships, and create a presence that naturally inspires and guides others, not through words, but through authenticity, empathy, and quiet strength. As you continue to feel deeply and embrace your journey, you begin to understand that vulnerability is not weakness. It is courage in its purest form. Sharing your authentic self, even when it scares you, allows you to connect meaningfully with others and demonstrates a power that no performance or facade can achieve. True impact, the kind that resonates and lasts, is born from this inner transformation. When you live with awareness, reflect intentionally, and let your silent growth guide your actions, your life begins to radiate influence beyond words, shaping the world in subtle, profound ways that outlast any moment of recognition or applause. Finally, the journey of feeling deeply and growing silently is one of lifelong evolution. It asks for patience, courage, and self-compassion. It asks you to embrace the storms within and the quiet lessons they offer. Those who commit to this path discover a power that is unmatched, a presence, a wisdom, and an influence that is both invisible and undeniable. Growth that comes from depth, reflection, and authenticity may be silent, but its effects echo through every choice, relationship, and action. And in a world obsessed with noise and validation, the quiet rise of those who feel deeply becomes the most powerful force of all. 3. Thank you and goodbye. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Your presence and attention mean more than words can express. I hope this message inspires you to feel deeply, reflect intentionally, and embrace the silent growth that is shaping your life. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to like, comment, and share so others can benefit too. Stay connected, keep evolving, and remember, the quiet strength you cultivate today will define the person you become tomorrow. Thank you again, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Goodbye for now, and keep growing silently.